The great alien hall was filled with cold light. Tall pillars stretched into the ceiling, and strange glowing symbols danced across the walls. At the center, the alien council sat on their high seats, their faces sharp, proud, and full of cruelty. They were watching a single human who stood in chains. The human looked small compared to them. He wore simple clothes, his face covered with dust and cuts, yet his eyes were steady. He did not bow. He did not beg. The aliens did not like this. They had expected fear. They had expected tears. But the human gave them none. One of the alien leaders spoke, his voice deep and harsh. He said the human was weak, a danger, and had no place among great civilizations of the stars. He said the human had broken laws, had spoken too much, had resisted too much, and now the punishment was death. Not quick death, but a slow one, a cruel one. The punishment was banishment. The human would be thrown into the wilderness, a land filled with monsters and beasts. No one had ever returned from there. No one had ever survived even one night. The aliens smiled, their sharp teeth flashing. They thought this was the perfect end for a stubborn human. Guards dragged the human forward, his hands bound. The hall echoed with alien laughter. Some whispered that the human would last no more than an hour. Others said the beast would tear him apart before the sun even set. None had any doubt the human's fate was sealed. But the human walked with calm steps. He did not struggle. His heart was heavy. But his spirit was alive. He remembered Earth. He remembered long nights under the sky, the smell of firewood, the sound of wolves. He had faced danger before. He knew pain before. Death did not scare him, not like it scared the aliens. At the gates of the wilderness, the guards pushed him forward. The great steel doors opened with a deep growl. Beyond lay a dark forest, its trees twisted, its shadows deep. And from within came a sound, low and terrible. The growl of something alive. Something huge. The human stood at the edge. He felt the eyes of the aliens on his back. They wanted to see him run. They wanted to see him beg, but he gave them nothing. He took one step, then another, and entered the wild. The doors closed behind him with a thunderous slam, cutting him off from the world he knew. Silence, then darkness. He walked deeper, the air thick with strange smells, the ground soft and wet under his feet. The forest was alive with sounds, insects, birds, and something else. Something heavy moving among the trees. He could feel it watching him, waiting. Back in the alien hall, the council laughed. They showed the crowd the great screens where the human was now only a tiny figure among endless trees. The aliens leaned forward, eager to watch his death. They called it entertainment. They called it justice. But the human kept walking. He found a broken stick and sharpened it against a rock. He found dry leaves and tried to spark fire from stones. His mind worked fast, his hands steady. He had no weapon, no armor, but he had knowledge. And knowledge was something the aliens never respected. Hours passed. Night fell. The sky above the forest turned dark. Strange moons glowed between the trees. The air grew colder. Then the growl returned, louder this time. The ground shook as something massive moved closer. The human tightened his grip on the stick, his eyes scanning the dark. Shadows shifted, leaves rustled, and then he saw them. Two glowing eyes staring at him from the darkness high above, far larger than his own. The beast had found him. The human's breath slowed. His heart beat faster, but he did not run. Instead, he planted his feet. Ready to fight, ready to survive, he whispered to himself, as he always had in hard times. If they want me dead, they will have to work for it. In the alien hall, the crowd roared. They thought this was the end. They thought the beast would kill him in one strike. But the human stood tall, shadow swallowing him as the monster stepped into the light of the fire he had built, its size beyond imagination, its fangs shining, its claws like blades, and in that moment, as fire crackled and the beast growled, the aliens leaned forward, smiling, certain they would soon laugh again. But the human's eyes shone with a different fire, a fire they could not understand, a fire that would change everything. Would he die or would he endure? The answer was hidden in the night, waiting to be revealed. The night was heavy, the forest alive with sounds the human had never heard before. Shadows stretched long and deep. The fire he had built gave a weak glow, but it was enough to hold the dark at bay. Around him, strange eyes flickered and vanished. Small creatures darted between the trees, but his mind stayed fixed on one truth. Something larger was near. The beast had shown itself once, glowing eyes watching him with cold hunger, and then it had vanished back into the shadows. The human did not know when it would return, but he knew it would. He sat by the fire, sharpening the stick until the point glistened like a fang. Far away, the alien council watched through great crystal screens. their faces twisted in amusement. They saw the human's weak fire, his lonely figure, and they laughed. One alien said, "He plays with sticks while death waits for him." Another said, "The beast is patient. It will tear him apart when it pleases." They drank and celebrated. Certain the end was near, but the human did not think of death. His mind turned to survival. He remembered lessons from Earth, hunger in cold forests, danger in mountains, the eyes of predators in the night. He had survived before. He would survive again. He whispered to himself, "They want fear, they will not get it." The forest spoke around him. Branches cracked under unseen weight. A distant howl echoed, high and sharp. Then silence again, the kind of silence that pressed on the chest and made the heart heavy. He threw more wood into the fire. Sparks danced upward, and for a brief moment he thought of home, of stars above Earth, of his people. Suddenly a shadow moved. The beast stepped forward, slow, deliberate, its body massive, taller than any tree nearby, its skin dark and rough like stone, its jaws lined with teeth sharp as knives. Its breath steamed in the cold air, glowing eyes fixed on him not just with hunger, but with strange curiosity. The human rose, his sharpened stick in hand. He did not scream. He did not run. He stood ready. The beast let out a growl, so deep the ground trembled beneath his feet. Birds exploded from the treetops in fear. The aliens watching leaned forward, their cruel smiles wide. Waiting for blood, the beast lunged. Claws tearing into the earth, the human rolled aside. The claws missed him by inches. He threw his stick. It struck the beast's side. Barely scratching, the monster roared, shaking the forest. The sound rang through the alien hall, and still the human moved, fast, clever, keeping fire between him and the beast. The fight stretched into the night. The beast charged again and again. The human dodged, stumbled, then rose again. His arms ached, his chest burned, but his mind stayed sharp. He used rocks. He used branches. He used fire, every trick he knew. Still the beast kept coming. Then something strange happened. After the last charge, the beast stopped. It did not strike again. It stood watching him, its growl low but not angry, its glowing eyes steady. The human froze, sweat dripping from his face, his body shaking. But he saw it clearly. The beast was not just a monster. It was thinking. The aliens muttered in confusion. One said, "Why does it not kill him?" Another hissed, end it now." But the beast did not move. It only watched. The human, breathing hard, lowered his hand slowly. He did not attack. He did not run. Instead, he picked up a small branch from the fire and held it like an offering. The beast tilted its head, its glowing eyes narrowing, then it stepped back. The ground shaking under its weight. It did not leave, but it did not kill. The night passed slowly. The human sat by the fire, the beast lingering at the edge of the trees, sometimes disappearing into the dark, sometimes returning, always watching. When dawn broke, pale light cutting through the twisted trees, the human saw the beast still there, resting, its great body half hidden among shadows. It was not gone. It was not finished. It was waiting. He whispered softly, his voice almost a breath. "You are not only teeth and claws, are you? You are more." The aliens watching grew restless, their laughter fading, their amusement turning into unease. The human had survived the night, something no one had ever done before, and worse, the beast had not killed him. The story was changing, and the council did not like it. The human stood, weak but alive, and faced the forest. The beast followed with its eyes, and in that silent morning one truth began to form. The fight was not over. It had only begun, and somewhere deep inside the alien hall, for the first time, fear stirred in their hearts. The new day rose slowly, pale light falling through the twisted branches of the alien forest. The air was heavy with mist, every sound sharper, every shadow deeper. The human stood near the fire he had kept alive through the night, his body aching, his arms tired, but his eyes steady. He was still alive across the clearing. The beast waited, huge and silent, its body like moving stone, its eyes glowing like twin suns in the dark. It had not attacked him again, not in the night, not in the morning. It had only watched, and that was the strangest thing of all. The alien council watched too, their crystal screens showing every movement. They had expected blood. They had expected screams. But instead they saw a human still standing, a beast still waiting. Whispers ran through the hall. "Why has it not ended? Why does the monster delay?" The laughter of the night before was gone, replaced with restless curiosity. The human knew the beast would not wait forever. He could feel its strength in the air. Every breath it took shook the leaves, every step made the ground tremble, and he understood one mistake would mean his end. He walked slowly, picking up another branch, sharpening it into a spear. His hands rough, his thoughts sharp. He told himself again and again, "Do not run, do not fear. Fear is what they want. Fear is what kills." Then it happened. The beast moved one sudden step forward, its claws digging into the ground, a growl rising from deep in its chest. The sound rolled like thunder. Birds scattered, small creatures vanished. The human gripped his spear tight, his heart beat loud in his ears. The beast lunged faster than before, its jaws opening wide, teeth shining like blades. The human rolled aside. The jaws slammed shut where he had stood. The ground cracked, dirt flying into the air. He thrust his spear with all his strength. The point struck the beast's side, but only scratched the thick hide. The beast roared, the forest shook. Its tail swung like a whip, striking a tree. Snapping it in half with one blow, the human scrambled to his feet. Barely keeping balance, the aliens watching gasped. Some cheered, but others fell silent. The fight was not like they had imagined. The human ran toward the fire, grabbing a burning branch. Flames licking at the air, he held it high, shouting. His voice raw but strong, the beast charged again, but this time stopped short, its glowing eyes narrowing at the fire, its growl lowering as if it knew the flames, as if it respected them. The human stepped forward. Thrusting the fire toward it, the beast backed one step, not in fear but in thought. The alien council muttered in disbelief. He makes it hesitate, impossible. No creature resists its hunger. But the proof was before them. Still, the beast was not finished. It circled him slow and heavy, its growl rumbling, testing him. The human moved with it, fire in one hand, spear in the other, his feet steady, his eyes locked on the monster's glowing gaze. Then, with sudden fury, the beast struck again, its claw sweeping across the clearing. The human ducked. The claw tore through the air, snapping branches, ripping earth. The human drove his spear upward, striking the softer skin near its leg. The beast roared in pain, its body rearing back, the sound echoing through the alien hall. For the first time, blood dripped from the beast, thick and dark, falling onto the ground. The aliens gasped. Some stood from their seats, eyes wide. He heard it. The human heard it, they whispered, disbelief spreading. The human stepped back, breathing hard, sweat pouring down his face, his chest burning, but inside, he felt something different. Not just fear, not just survival, but a spark, a strange connection. He had faced the beast and he had not fallen. The beast lowered its head, its glowing eyes staring at him, no longer only as prey, but as something else. Its growl softened, not gone but changed. The human saw it, the shift, the question in the monster's gaze. He did not raise his spear again, he did not strike. Instead, he lowered the fire slowly, letting the flames glow between them. The beast sniffed the air, its breath hot and heavy. Then it stepped back once more, its tail lowering, its claws still sharp, but its attack ended. The forest grew quiet, too quiet. The fight was paused, not finished. The human dropped to one knee. Exhausted but alive, the beast turned, walking back into the shadows, but not far, never far. Its glowing eyes still watching. The alien council sat in silence, their arrogance shaken. They had seen something new, something they could not explain. One alien hissed. "It should have killed him," another whispered. Perhaps it chose not to. The human sat by his fire again, hands trembling, body weak, but his spirit stronger than ever. He knew the truth now. The beast was not only death, it was more, and in that truth was his only chance. The night would come again, and with it another test, but in his heart, the human felt something strange. Not only fear, not only hate, but a small seed of respect, maybe even the start of something greater. The clash was not the end, it was the beginning, and far away. In the halls of the aliens, unease turned to fear, because the story they had written for him was no longer theirs to control. The forest was alive with quiet danger, but the clearing where the human sat felt different now. The beast had not killed him in the night. It had not torn him apart in rage. Instead, it had circled him, fought him, tested him, and then pulled back. The fire still burned low, and in its glow the human whispered, "You could end me, yet you didn't. Why?" The alien council far away watched with restless eyes. This was no longer a simple death sentence. It was turning into something they could not predict. Their screens showed the human moving carefully, gathering wood, sharpening tools while the beast lingered close, never attacking, never leaving. One alien muttered, "It waits for the right moment," another whispered. "No, it studies him." The human worked with steady hands. Though his body ached, he built stronger fire. He shaped sharper weapons. He gathered wild fruit and tested them carefully. Some bitter, some deadly, but some gave him strength. All the while the beast remained near, watching from the shadows. Its glowing eyes never leaving him. One morning, he found the beast closer than before, standing at the edge of the clearing. Its massive head tilted, its breath misting in the air. He held no weapon, only a small piece of fruit in his hand. His voice calm. "If you wanted me dead, I would already be gone. Maybe you want something else?" He tossed the fruit toward it. The beast sniffed it, then crushed it underfoot. Its growl low, not angry, almost curious. The days passed, each one a test. Sometimes the beast roared, shaking the forest. Sometimes it charged close enough for the human to feel its hot breath, but it never struck. The human grew used to its presence, his fear slowly turning into something else, respect, maybe even trust. At night, he noticed the beast lay near the edge of the clearing, as if guarding the area. Smaller predators no longer came close. The human slept more peacefully than before, his mind turning over the strange truth. "It is no longer hunting me," he thought. "It walks beside me." The aliens grew uneasy, their laughter gone, now replaced with arguments. "This cannot be allowed," one said. "No human should survive this long," another hissed. "Kill the beast or kill the human. End this before it spreads." But the leader of the council raised his hand. "No, we watch, we learn. This is different." The bond grew slowly, tested again and again. One day the human cut his hand while shaping a spear. Blood dripping onto the ground, the beast stepped closer, its nose lowering, sniffing the wound. The human froze, ready for death. But instead the beast only growled softly and turned away, as if saying, "I see your pain, but I will not take your life." Another time, the human built a trap for smaller prey. A simple pit covered with branches. He caught a strange lizard-like creature, its body covered in scales. When the beast returned, the human pushed the prey toward it. Offering it without fear, the beast ate, its massive jaws crushing bone, then looked at him with something new in its glowing eyes. Day by day, a rhythm formed. The human hunted, the beast followed. The human built, the beast watched. Sometimes they walked together, through deep woods and twisted rivers. Sometimes they rested under the strange sky, the human speaking softly, though he knew the beast could not understand words. "They sent me here to die, but maybe they gave me you instead." Back in the alien hall, silence grew heavier. The counselors avoided each other's eyes. The crowd no longer laughed. Instead, they stared at the screens in disbelief. The human they had mocked now walked beside the beast like a shadow. And the beast, the great monster of the wild, no longer looked like a killer, but like a companion. Still, it was not simple. There were nights when the beast growled so loud the ground shook, testing the human's courage. There were moments when its claws struck too close, forcing him to leap aside, but each test ended the same way. Not in death, but in survival. Not in hate, but in something deeper. One evening, a storm rolled across the sky, rain pounding the trees, lightning splitting the heavens. The human built a shelter of branches. Weak against the storm, the wind tore it apart. The fire went out, darkness swallowed the clearing. He thought he would freeze before dawn, but then he saw the beast lying near, its massive body steady, its hide thick against the rain. Slowly, carefully, the human moved closer, resting in the shadow of the beast, the heat of its body warming him, its steady breath calming him. For the first time since his banishment, he slept without fear. When morning came, the storm was gone, and the beast was still there, its glowing eyes watching, but softer now. The human smiled, weak but true. "We are not enemies anymore," he whispered, and though the beast made no sound, its silence was answer enough. And far away in the alien hall, fear grew stronger, for what they saw was not just survival, it was connection. It was the beginning of something greater, something they had never planned, something they could not control. The bond between human and beast had begun, and it would change everything. The forest no longer felt the same. In the beginning, it was a prison, a place of certain death, but now it had become something else. The human no longer walked as prey, he walked as a survivor. His steps steady, his eyes sharp, and beside him moved the beast. Huge and terrifying, yet no longer an enemy. Days turned into weeks, the human grew lean and strong, his body hardened by struggle, his hands rough with cuts, his arms marked by scars, but his spirit burned brighter. Every challenge made him stronger. Every danger taught him something new. He learned which plants healed wounds, which roots gave energy. He learned the calls of smaller creatures, and how to track them through the forest. The beast followed always, sometimes near, sometimes at a distance, its glowing eyes watching every move. and slowly the bond between them deepened. One day the human hunted a pack of small lizard-like predators. They circled him, their teeth sharp, their numbers deadly. But before they struck, the beast roared, its voice shaking the forest. The smaller predators scattered in terror, leaving the human unharmed. From that day, the human understood. The beast was not just watching, it was guarding. The alien council grew restless as they watched. What had been a sentence of death was turning into something far more dangerous. He was supposed to die, one alien said. Now he thrives, another whispered. He tames the untamable. This cannot be. But still they watched, their eyes fixed on the growing strength of the human. The human began to walk with confidence, no longer hiding, no longer fearing. When he crossed rivers, the beast crossed with him. When he climbed ridges, the beast waited below, roaring at any creature that dared approach. The wilderness itself seemed to bow before them. At night, the human sat by the fire, the beast resting nearby, its body like a mountain, its breath slow and steady. He spoke softly, not because he thought the beast understood words, but because he knew it understood tone. They sent me here to be broken, but look at me now, stronger than before, stronger than they ever thought possible. The days tested him still. Storms raged, beasts attacked, hunger struck, but he never fell. With every test he endured, his bond with the monster grew deeper. One evening, he watched as the beast chased off another predator, a serpent with wings and venomous fangs. When it returned, he reached out his hand, slow, steady. His fingers brushed its rough hide for the first time. The beast did not strike, did not roar, it only stood still, its glowing eyes calm. And in that moment, the bond was sealed. The aliens gasped as they saw voices filling the council hall. No, impossible. No one touches it and lives. But their eyes showed fear, for they saw what their pride had hidden. This was no ordinary human. This was the beginning of something greater. The wilderness changed around him. No longer a place of death, it became his domain. The human hunted not with fear, but with strategy, setting traps, shaping weapons from stone, using fire with skill. The beast became his strength, striking down dangers that no human alone could face. Together they ruled the forest. Other creatures learned to stay away. The sound of the beast's roar was enough to scatter them, the sight of fire in the human's hand enough to keep them distant. The wilderness itself seemed to recognize them. Predator and man no longer separate, but united. The human's eyes grew sharper, his body leaner, his spirit unbreakable. He was no longer the weak prisoner the aliens had mocked. He was transformed, shaped by the wild into something new, something powerful. The council tried to laugh, but their voices shook. He is still one man, they said. He is still nothing. Yet in their hearts they knew the truth. One man with one beast was more than they had ever feared. One evening, the human climbed a ridge with the beast at his side. From the top, he looked across the endless forest, the sky burning with strange suns. He stood tall, the wind pulling at his torn clothes, the beast growling low at his side, and he whispered, "They sent me to die, but instead they gave me life. They gave me you." The beast lowered its massive head, almost like a bow, almost like respect. And the human felt something strange in his chest. Not just survival, not just strength, but partnership. Far away, the aliens whispered, their pride broken. What is he becoming? What have we created? They could not answer, for the truth was plain on their screens. The human had transformed. No longer prey, no longer prisoner, but master of the wild. And this transformation was only the beginning. The wilderness had shaped him, tested him and remade him. The human was no longer weak, no longer prey. He had scars on his arms, fire in his eyes and strength in his spirit. He had faced storms, hunger, and endless danger. Yet he still stood, and beside him walked the beast. Not as an enemy, but as a loyal companion. The days of fear were behind them. The forest that once wanted him dead now seemed to bow before their path. Smaller creatures scattered at the sound of the beast's roar. Larger predators kept their distance. The human no longer felt alone. He was part of something greater, something the aliens had never imagined. One morning, the human climbed a rocky ridge and looked far into the distance. Through the mist and trees he saw it. The towers of the alien city, their steel gates shining like cold teeth. He stared for a long moment, silent, then whispered, "It is time," the beast growled low as if it understood. And together they began the journey back. The alien council had long since grown restless. Weeks had passed and still no death. Their screens had shown survival, growth, and then the unthinkable. Bond between man and monster. The counselors whispered in fear. If he returns, we lose everything. The crowd will see what he has become. But their leader said, he will never return. No one crosses that wilderness twice, but the human did. Step by step, his body steady, his eyes hard, his spirit unshaken. The beast walked beside him like a shadow, the ground shaking under its weight. Wherever they passed, the wild grew silent, as if the forest itself had accepted them as rulers. The journey was long, rivers to cross, cliffs to climb, storms to endure, but together they overcame all. When the beast was wounded by a hidden predator, the human tended its wounds with herbs and fire. When the human grew weak from hunger, the beast shared its kill. Their bond was not just respect now. It was survival together at last after many days. The great walls of the alien city rose before them, steel gates taller than mountains, guarded by soldiers who laughed when they saw him leave, now silent in disbelief as they saw him return. One man, one beast walking side by side, the soldiers froze, their weapons shaking. The beast let out a growl that made the steel gates tremble. The guards stepped back, fear wide in their eyes. One whispered, "He was supposed to die," another muttered. "No one returns." But here he was, alive, stronger than ever. The gates opened with a slow grind of metal. The human stepped through, the beast following, its claws clicking against the ground, its eyes glowing, its presence filling the city with dread. The people gasped, crowds gathering, whispers spreading like fire. He lived. He tamed the beast. No. The beast follows him. The human kept walking, his head high, his scars uncovered, his eyes locked forward. The beast moved behind him like a living shadow, every step shaking the stone streets, every roar silencing the crowd. Inside the council hall, panic spread. The leaders rushed to the screens, their faces pale, their arrogance shattered. "He has returned," one said. "This cannot be," another hissed. "End this now." But their leader sat frozen, staring at the image, for in his heart he knew the truth. The human they had cast out had become more than a man. The human stopped in the great square, the beast beside him, its massive head lowering like a loyal hound. The crowd fell silent, not even the wind dared speak. For a long moment the human said nothing, only stood, his body strong, his eyes unbroken. The beast growled low, its sound rolling like thunder across the city. The aliens who had once laughed now trembled, their faces priceless in their fear and disbelief. This was not the weak creature they had mocked. This was not the prey they had thrown away. This was something new, something greater. The human raised his hand, the beast stilled, its glowing eyes fixed on him. The message was clear to all. The man commanded the monster. The prey had become the master far away. In the shadows of the council hall, whispers rose. What if all humans are like this? What if he is only the beginning? Their fear grew deeper, for what they had seen was not a single man's survival. It was a warning. The human had returned. Not broken, not weak, but powerful. And the beast that once ruled the wilderness now bowed to him. And in that moment, the story they had written was torn apart. Their plans shattered, their arrogance crushed, for the one they had sent to die had come back, and he had not come back alone. The great square of the alien city had never been so silent. The crowd stood frozen, their wide eyes fixed on the sight before them. One human, scarred and strong, standing tall in the center, and beside him the beast, massive, terrifying, yet calm, its head lowered in loyalty. This was not the story the aliens had written. They had cast him out to die. They had promised their people a show of weakness, a reminder that humans were fragile and unworthy. But now the truth stood before them, alive, undeniable, and unforgettable. The whispers began to spread, soft at first, then louder. He lived. The human lived. He tamed the beast. The words passed from mouth to mouth, turning the silence into a storm of disbelief. The aliens who once laughed now clutched their hands together, their faces pale, their arrogance broken. The council sat in their high seats, watching with shaking eyes, their screens and crystals showing the moment across every corner of the city. One counselor hissed, "This cannot be real." Another whispered, "It defies everything we know." But their leader said nothing. His eyes locked on the human, his jaw tight with fear. The beast growled low and deep, the sound rolling through the square like thunder. Soldiers who had once stood proud dropped their weapons. The ground itself seemed to shake with each breath the monster took, yet it did not strike. It obeyed the man, the prey who had become master. The human said nothing. He did not need to. His silence was louder than any speech. His eyes spoke enough, eyes that showed fire, resilience, and unbroken will, eyes that told the aliens, "You failed to kill me, and now you must face what I have become." The people trembled. Some covered their faces, others fell to their knees. Never before had they seen their feared beast bow to any creature. Never before had they seen a human return from the wilderness alive. The sight was too much, too powerful. The council leader finally stood, his voice shaking though he tried to sound strong. "This is a trick, nothing more. He has stolen the beast's mind. He has corrupted it." But even his own words carried no weight, for the truth was plain to see. The beast did not look enslaved. It looked loyal, it looked proud. The human raised his hand. The beast lifted its head and roared, the sound so mighty that windows cracked, towers shook, and the people fell to the ground in terror. When the roar ended, silence fell again, deeper than before. The priceless moment had arrived. The aliens' faces twisted with disbelief. Fear shining in their eyes, they had mocked him. They had laughed when he was cast into the wilderness, but now they could only stare. Their pride shattered. Their confidence burned away. One counselor whispered to another, "If one human can do this, what would happen if there were more?" Another said, "We called them weak, but perhaps they are stronger than all of us." Their fear was not only of the man before them, but of the entire human race. The human finally spoke, his voice low but strong, carried across the square. "You sent me to die. But death did not take me. Instead I learned. I endured, I grew stronger. You thought I was weak, but weakness was never in me. You thought the beast would kill me, but now it walks at my side. Not as a master, not as a slave, but as a companion." The crowd listened, their hearts pounding, their minds struggling to understand. The human's words cut through their arrogance like fire through dry grass. "I am one," he said, "only one, but I returned. Remember this when you speak of humans again? Remember this when you think we are nothing." The beast lowered its head once more, its glowing eyes fixed on him with respect. The people gasped. The council sat in silence, and the truth became clear. The human had not only survived, he had won. From that day, the story spread beyond the city, across worlds, across empires. It was told in whispers and shouts, in fear and in awe. The story of the human who was sent to die but returned with death itself as his companion. And the aliens who had laughed would never forget their faces in that moment. Priceless in shock, priceless in fear, priceless in the knowledge that they had underestimated humanity. The man turned, the beast following close. Together they left the square, the crowd parting like waves, no one daring to block their path. The gates opened once more, not to cast him out, but to let him walk free. Behind him the council sat broken. Behind him the people trembled, and above him, the strange suns of this world burned brighter, as if marking the rise of something new. The human had returned, not as prey, not as victim, but as master. And the galaxy itself would never be the same.